You can see my screen right still? So I should have said that before you started recording.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride, this adaptive PE career, which like I've absolutely loved from the start. So a few like before Christmas, maybe like November, Adam Forbes, who presented yesterday, who's a doctorate at UVA, sent me an email. It's like, oh, you should have like put in an abstract for this conference. It's in the United Arab Emirates. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds amazing. So I put in like a quick abstract, and then I found out over winter break that my abstract had been accepted. So I had to actually write it over the winter break. So I put together this paper and submitted it, and it was accepted. So I'm actually on Sunday flying out to the United Arab Emirates for this international conference to present, which is just wild. So it's super exciting. So that's where I'll be next week. And the paper is on bridging ability and activity through assistive technology in adapted physical education. And I've added this quote, which I got from, which my buddy Jeff found. For people with disabilities, technology makes things easier. For people with disabilities, technology makes things possible. So it's just kind of again that the potential that technology has to have like a huge impact on our students' lives is touching. Okay. So I like to start off with this video. This is a baseball video I did, a baseball unit I did with my class at Key. So this class was very diverse in abilities. So I wanted to do a baseball unit that included everyone. So we had some students who could probably go and play for like the middle school baseball team, and then we would have other students who needed a lot more support. So here's just a short video about that unit that we did and different ways we use technology to make it accessible.
David, touch it.
So every student in class actually was able to catch the ball, the hit ball with the helium balloons. The student was able to pitch the ball up to the student. Good hit, so everyone's involved in every aspect of the game.
Ready position.
Actually, might have been asleep there. And the technology can also be used as like sensory reward. So when they get on home base, they get like bubbles. Guys, have a lot of fun with the technology. So a quick introduction to assistive technology and physical education. So assistive technology refers to any item, piece of equipment, or product system used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. So like when I read that definition, I was kind of like, well, that's pretty much like everything we do, like any piece of equipment. So it could be, it could be like a ball with bells in. It could be like I don't know, like that could be anything. And its role in adaptive physical education enables students with disabilities to participate more fully in physical education, enhancing learning and engagement. And it's significant because equal access to education and physical activity fosters inclusivity, which hopefully you saw in that video, and diversity in school settings. So what I found was there wasn't a lot written about assistive technology specifically in adaptive PE. So it's kind of like a gap that I wanted to explore when I wrote this paper. So I think we wanted to so I've worked a lot with Jeff Watkins. He's very popular on like TikTok and stuff like that with his assistive technology. And we're just both trying to like think how can we like categorize stuff, because by that definition, like everything we do in adaptive PE, any adaptation we make is potentially assistive technology. So I wanted to so there's low tech solutions, right? Anything that's I guess not electrical or that sort of stuff. Yeah, thanks, Karen. Yeah, Jeff's on Twitter. He's on Twitter too, and I think he's on Instagram as well. So yeah, the what's it called? The Flag House. Can't remember what it's called, but I would say that was a low tech solution, so it doesn't involve any electricity or anything like that. And then we have our mid tech solution. So if anyone knows much about assisted technology, you got your switches that they press, and then you got power links, battery interrupters, stuff like that. I would say that's all like mid tech. It's electronic, but it's kind of not too high tech. And then we have high tech, so yeah, stuff used in video games on the computer, uh, iPads, and like VR, AI, that sort of stuff. So there's a huge range, which could be of what could be considered assistive technology. So what I wanted to focus on with this paper was using that technology as a bridge for skill development. And uh, so I made some little graphics, and I want to move on to the next page. So for students without disabilities, they have ability, right? They can pick up a ball, they can throw it, and the activity is shooting a basketball. And so when they throw it, the ball goes into the net, and it's a pretty cut and dry input and output. They throw the ball, it goes in the net. Ability, activity. But with our students, it's like just do it, right? We've got to just adapt it, and we use that assisted technology as a bridge. So what we do is we look at the student's ability. What is the student able to do? So I've got an example in the next slide. The student's able to activate a switch with their head. And if you look in the middle here, this is the bridge, the assistive technology. You've got the switch, which they can use with the head. And then we've got a device, which is a leaf blower, which is going to shoot the basketball into the net. And then we need something that's going to make that device switch accessible. So I've called it an activation mechanism. So in this case, it is a power link. So I'll show you that in action in the next video. So you saw in that video, uh, the student's ability and the activity of scoring a basket in the basket was bridged by that technology in the middle. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at with that. And then this is a new one using that leaf blower that if anyone was here for the last presentation, that leaf blower, we've done a switch adapted basketball dribble, which I've tried to do in the past. I've had like a fan above a helium balloon blowing it down, and that It was okay, but I think this one's a lot better. So again, this is the bridging that ability. What can the student do? They can activate a switch, or they could push down the ball if they're able to do that. And then that's going to turn on the fan with the power link there.
There's a question in the chat asking what kind of ball was that for basketball?
The ball in the last video, I think it was a volleyball trainer. So again, it's like it's I call it the dude perfect moment. So you've got to like try different balls from different directions, basket nets at different heights. And it's just finding that right ball that's gonna fly enough. You can use like beach balls are very popular too. But I think that's a volleyball trainer because I think a beach ball was going too high. And then on here you can see I've put a uh basketball beach ball onto the switch. So the switch is now something that looks like a basketball. So it's we always say trying to like mirror the skill as closely as possible, and you can do that with switches. You can do that with all different setups of assistive technology. It's the same student, that head switch. Yeah, and it's a really nice moment when the student's able to bridge that gap. It's gonna play again. So I guess
Can
the
you please,
equipment.
hey Matt, can you please repeat the name of the equipment?
Uh, yeah. I think the next slide I've got like another slide with
The
the
names?
info on, so I'll do that on the next slide. So the first thing we want to do is identify student capabilities. So we're looking at like their gross motor coordination, grasping ability, head movement, eye gaze control. So we don't want to be setting up this big elaborate system so a student can shoot a ball if they can actually shoot a ball. So we've got to know what the student can do, and then it's about finding that assistive technology that's going to bridge that gap to meet that student's needs. So it's good to collaborate with therapists and specialists uh, when trying to identify those capabilities. So yeah, adapting equipment for environment. So we've got different switches. Jelly bean switches, which is the one you've probably seen the most. Wobble, grip and puff. There's lots of different switches, which if we have time, I'll kind of show you at the end. Different ways you can reenact the skill as closely as possible. So that switch is what the student will interact with. Needs to be plugged into an activation mechanism. I made that word up for this like group of things because I was trying to find what they were called collectively, but there was nothing out there, so I just came up with activation mechanism because it's something that activates. And those are power links. So a power link will anything that's got a plug, so a fan, a leaf blower. If you want to use a leaf blower, it's got to be one that's got a plug. You can plug into there, and then that can be controlled by a switch. And you've got battery interrupters, which will uh, shut off anything that's battery controlled, and then when you hit that switch, it turns it back on. So that can be controlled by a switch too. And then you have switch interfaces, which plug into a laptop, and you can control a laptop with a switch too through that. So I've grouped those as activation mechanisms. There are more, but they're the three main ones that I wanted to mention today. And then finally, there's a device, something that's going to shoot the ball or do that object control skill that you're trying to like recreate. So I use the leaf blower a lot. Fans. I've seen Jeff use the like the pumps for like bounce houses. Like you can use like a regular box fan. You can put that up and you can put balloons on. You can use all sorts of different stuff. There's like kind of no end to like what you can do creatively. And then I've used ping pong robots, so like a $40 ping pong robot that takes a battery. You just whack a battery interrupter in there, and then it's off. And then when you press the button, it'll fire a ping pong paddle, ping pong ball. I might need to add that video into this one. And then yeah, you can control laptops and iPads, and I've classed those as devices as well because they're the thing that that's kind of recreating that activity. So the input goes into the switch, and then the device is recreating that um the activity. So I'm kind of this is like the bridge. This is what we're doing to adapt that skill so it's accessible for the students.
Hey, Matt, can I interrupt with a question real fast?
Yeah.
One of the questions that I think a lot of people often have on their mind is, when I enter a school, where do I get this equipment? Am I buying it myself? So if I wanted to, do this, how can I get started? What can I do?
So we're really lucky at Fairfax County because we have an amazing ATS department. So every school's got a ATS coach who you can work with. So I spoke with my ATS coach. I was like, I want to do some assistive technology for my students, and they came over the next day, big box of stuff, switches, and we kind of like just had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I haven't stopped since really. But I know that not every department has them, so you got to kind of be a bit creative. There's a lot of hacks out there. You can use extension cords. You can go on like buy nothing and ask for maybe not the ATS the switches and stuff, but you could ask for a leaf blower. Um, so there are some hacks, there are some tips, and I've got a lot of that stuff on the website too. Uh, uh, but yeah, if you don't have the department, you could maybe ask your school. I want to get a power link, which is probably about $300, maybe a bit cheaper secondhand. Kind of have a little bit of money to buy that, and I think it's definitely worth it. They're great pieces of equipment. You might best get an older model for cheaper too. All right. So in this video, it's all about I've tried to there's some looking at the skill. What does the skill involve? So for football, it's holding uh like holding the ball to your head. So I've put the switch like kind of like behind the net there. So her movement is going up to like the starting position for a throw where she can activate the switch and throw. And there's a lot of different examples, but the reason for the video is kind of recreating as closely as possible the skill. And then hopefully you can see the assistive technology bridge that's in there too. There's the kicking one where she actually activates the switch through a wobble switch with her foot. And she's able to score a touchdown. Sorry, a field goal. And this one wasn't really for these shoot. They were just demoing it for me, but the switch is underneath for a bump pass, or it's up above for a set. And both the switches activate the leaf blower. Oh, I didn't mean to skip that. I wanted to kind of pause it. Yeah, so there's the switch, there's the activation mechanism, and that's the device. So it's just adapting the skill of striking a ball with a bat. The students activating the switch, which is a ball with a bat. So she's hitting a bat with a ball, hitting a ball with a bat, and the ball's flying out of the leaf blower. So it's got a huge impact on student participation and confidence. I won't read it all out, but here are some of the positive impacts it has on students. Challenges and solutions. So limited training, familiarity. There's not a lot of training. People don't know that they even have assistive technology departments, if they have them or not. Not familiar. Solutions, coming to professional developments and training programs for educators, finding what assistive technology can do, going back to your principal or your administrators and saying, listen, we want some assistive technology. Can we have X amount of money to buy some stuff? Advocating for those students. Funding, it's expensive. You need like money to buy a lot of it. But that, like I said, there are some creative ways, hacks, and then just looking after the equipment you do have. And then individualization. So you kind of got to individualize it for each student. So you're not going to have a one size fits all piece of assistive technology that you can use for all your students. It's very individualized. So future trends and innovations. So artificial intelligence. So on the Just Adaptive website, there's a goal. So you write the student's name in, you write their strengths and the area of the need, and what it'll do, it'll write you a strength and need statement for the IEP, and then suggest 5 goals for you just automatically. I use it a lot for the strengths and needs. I don't really like the goals it's turning out. I need to kind of adjust it a little bit, but just an example of how AI could be used as assistive technology. Although that's more for the teachers than students. 3D printing, customization. You can start building custom stuff that you design. That's way beyond my like technology skill level. Wearable technology trackers. I close my rings out on my Apple Watch every day. How can this be utilized in classes as well to make sure students are getting enough movement in their day? VR, AR is something I'd love to explore, but again, way over my head. And then gamification and interactive platforms. Excuse me. Just some ideas for future trends. Okay, so AT is significantly enhanced PE for students with disabilities, and an emphasis on abilities and inclusivities, integrating technologies from low tech to advanced innovations. So the recommendations from the paper were comprehensive ability assessments for personalized AT solutions, professional development, cross-functional collaboration, regular evaluation feedback. God, I don't know what's wrong. Balance between high quality and cost-effective AT options and keeping an updated inventory. Now, the whole paper, if anyone's interested, is on the website. If it's not easy to find, you just have to search bridging, and it should pop up bridging ability activity through assistive technology. So it's kind of like an interactive book. And there are some like videos in here you can watch. So it's kind of what we went over here, but just in more detail. So here's that ping pong robot. So you can actually click on that and it'll play the video. So here the switch is a wobble switch, which is a ping pong ball, which is hitting with a paddle. The activation mechanism is a battery interrupter, and the device is the ping pong robot, which is shooting them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. The website also has a whole assistive technology like section, because I love doing it. I love sharing stuff. Was there any? I'll spell it wrong. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Did I see any that I didn't answer?